What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we gotta talk about the new secret legendary weapon born from the lightning itself. I'll first explain how to obtain this new Boltcrusher, and then I'll showcase this Thundercall weapon within its full glory. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. To obtain this new weapon, it's fairly simple. Down in the depths, we can look for a job at a board titled the Drowned Delver and fight a pretty small mini-boss who has this weapon. Once killing him, it gives us the weapon and we can finally check it out, and yes, this is a legendary. Thanks to Jamie for this clip. Introducing a new Thundercall legendary, the Boltcrusher. This weapon has one of my favorite designs in the entire game, and if you know what's up, you can probably tell why. It reminds me of the Ignition Union with an advanced technological feel alongside small glowing accents and steam emission. When I crafted my own design for a Deepwoken weapon contest, it had a similar style, and I like this. Besides that, the Boltcrusher is a pretty expensive option that relies on multiple different stats as a requirement. Anyway, let's move on to the gameplay because this thing is super special. Starting off with the basic normal Thundercall version of the Boltcrusher, our M1 attack cycle does something unique when hitting. When landing attacks with the Crusher, you should be dealing lightning damage while shocking your opponent every single time. This sort of stun is identical to the Storm enchant without any of the extra damage from the lightning strikes. Every instance of stun applied by the M1 bypasses hyper armor entirely and shuts down attacking players no matter what. Shifting to the Surge version of this weapon, each M1 deals lightning damage while placing a Surge Rod on hit. Although it does look very similar, this basic attack does not apply the shock stun like the basic Thunder version, and instead of stunning players, this is better for stack building. Alright, moving on to the critical attacks because there's a few that change depending on what happens. With the basic critical, you'll spin your hammer around and drill targets with the backside of this weapon instead of the slam down. With normal Thunder, this does lightning damage and sends away, and it also applies sap. Using Surge, on the other hand, places a bunch of rods, so I think it might be better with this path. With the basic normal Thundercall version of the Boltcrusher, our running critical slams the ground while applying the sap status to our target. There's also an AoE blast attack emitted from this impact's, I guess, secondary strike, and this can hit the target once again or others nearby. But let's talk about that sap status because it's very important for this weapon, and it's also super confusing. If you're unaware, a target who is sapped or has this bolt on them will have a longer duration to all mantras on cooldown. Also, if you use a mantra while under the sap status, that duration for the cooldown is going to be longer and you have to wait, more time. It's a bit confusing, but the normal sap status only increases cooldown duration, reducing the amount of mantras players can use. In contrast to this, while using the Thunder Wisp, uppercuts and flourish apply a bolt of lightning that saps targets, increasing cooldowns with a secondary stun at the end. So normally, the sap status does not do this stun when it runs out. This interaction will only occur if you activate sapped with a Thunder Wisp, and it does not stun players when it runs out with the weapon. Anyway, we're finally back. With both normal Thunder and Surge, we slam the floor with an AoE blast that saps players, only increasing mantra cooldowns. The only difference with Surge is that it places a needle instead of stunning players. Now, if you hit a sap target once again with any crit, that debuff will automatically be removed while exploding the target for even more damage. This sap status can be used up even if it's been placed by something like Thunder Wisp on the flourish or uppercut interactions, and now even the crit. This is what happens if you critical a player that is sapped. With the basic Thunder path, lightning strikes your opponent and deletes that sap debuff and does more damage. And instead with Surge, that sap debuff detonates and overloads the target just like it would normally. I'd say for this weapon, you really want to run the Thunder Wisp at all times just to get that payoff constantly, since you're almost always placing that sap status. Anyway, this weapon is very technical and confusing at a first glance, but hopefully this video cleared things up for all of you Thundercall enjoyers. I like this weapon and it's undoubtedly a very unique approach to combat. And for now, that's it. As always, make sure to like and subscribe so we can hit 100k subs. Thanks again, it's punchin' time.